Hi, my name is Denise Fitzgerald of Go Doctor and Go Media. I am reading a statement today in reference to a video clip that I posted a couple of weeks ago on Instagram that stemmed from a skateboard purchase in the town that a child lives that I gave away for adoption. I'm softly saying I gave the child away for adoption, but now I'm going to explain why the interaction had to take place on camera because there was a civil unrest, or there was a lot of disturbance that caused the child to become unsafe, and the child started telephoning me back in January at 3 in the morning saying he was playing video games, and I became extremely concerned. Again, a couple of weeks ago, I announced that I was going to make magic in a child's life for Christmas this year. The child was my 12-year-old son, who is now confirmed as adopted under an ICWA court order that only I had a copy of since the child was 2 years old. Unfortunately, society and the severe temptations of one's innermost forbidden desires, both I and the child deemed it best that he remain in the care of his custodian due to thievery and court-ordered relief for his mother, me, to file a class action lawsuit for destroying my rich cultural heritage and my fight to keep the child. The class action lawsuit was something the child's father wanted from the time I was announced as being pregnant by law enforcement unlawfully for taking money and my nativity language away from me and my daughter, Olivia Fitzgerald, when she was 7 years old. My interpretation of my rich cultural heritage, or my mother tongue language that was only proprietary to my family and privileged to me, was very important to me. And to take through reproduction is just totally unacceptable. Unfortunately, because of that, civil unrest and the thirst for knowledge failed to allow the courts to interpret law, because I was recorded as being held down against my will and not allowed to pray. You see, everyone was speaking for me, and I have a voice, as you see, as it's being projected on the camera. Everyone wanted me to have a mental illness. They wanted to put me in this class, that class, this other class. And now I'm going to tell you why I am not those things, or those horrible, nasty, dirty allegations that I'm totally dissatisfied about. You see, my father was interpreted as a Choctaw Indian in the state of New Jersey based on my birth certificate, and the lineal heritage that was clearly researched by an attorney by the name of Teresa Owens, Esquire. But no one would come forward based on the harsh conditions of an unlawful police restraint, school boycott, housing protests, and a fireworks of Indian dialect of sounds misunderstood in California, as the attorney interpreted it. I gave the biggest diamond I had away to Child Protective Services in New Jersey. Why? Because I had no idea at the time conception took place that I was pregnant, but for some reason the police stepped on the property, not the police, but the Child Protective Services stepped on my property and asked me if I was pregnant. And I became very confused, like, gee, I don't know I'm pregnant. I'm violated. So, as a result of that, it stemmed from my cousin coming from Bienville Parish, and he had this large diamond on his neck. The diamond was so large that it illuminated the neighborhood, and that is how the child got the name Diamante, translation diamond. It attracted so much attention that everyone had a voice for me. How did that man from that parish who owned a truck obtain that large diamond? Now, at that point, when Diamante and I returned back from California and we couldn't seek refuge, I then sought the Child Protective Services because my defiant daughter decided to take over and take charge of the child. It was $1. So the tribal government was then contacted based on the request of an attorney and the disturbance of the public. And she then had private conversations, and she spoke, I guess, to an ICWA caseworker. And then at that point, the caseworker then spoke to me and reminded me of when my dad made statements to recall incidents. And I was like, wow, how would you know that? So based on that, the ICWA caseworker then stated, you will not be able to interpret because the problem is with your husband. Interesting. Now that's where the court interpretation comes in. So the child today will now be happy because I don't have to hop in this court. I don't have to hop in that court. No one has to pull a file to interpret. And there's no paperwork there. They don't have to go to the public. Do you have a witness? Can I speak to the child? Can I do this, that, and the other? Everyone, unfortunately, it's just a terrible dissatisfaction of behavior on my part. But the civil unrest will no longer exist in the child's life. And that was what was most important when the child was 2 and he's now 12. And the lies, of course, from someone I, of course, did not trust, a New York judge, that drove even more threats towards my culture. The judicial economy, as a result of all of the lies and the misinterpretations of everyone else, became destroyed and affected due to senseless violence. And that child now can no longer remember that 3 o'clock in the morning phone call. So I plan to inform my family of the damages and support of the courts to compensate me, hopefully, to pay for my injuries and my medical bills. And whatever is left over from the medical, of course, I will put away for the child. And the California paperwork that was driven from this sexual relations encounter can now be placed in the hands, never be placed in the hands. Or let me read that. I said, this is why California paperwork or any paperwork driven from sexual relations should never be placed in the hands of one that is not like you.